Hello, it's Richard here. Thanks for dialing into this video. This is clearly a video about chair yoga because there's a chair. And this is a video incorporating some of the movements I've been teaching over the last year or so with some lovely people that are doing chair yoga with me. So before we start, you can use any chair. I mean, some of the chairs I teach have got arms, which can get in the way, but don't let that put you off. If the only chair you've got accessible is a chair with arms, that's okay. We'll just make some modifications if we need to. If you've got any injuries, concerns, some severe restrictions, then be careful, okay? We're not going to do anything that's massively difficult. But if you are restricted in any way, shape and form, then do not hurt yourself. If there's something that is particularly awkward or feels a bit painful, then simply don't do it. There's quite a lot of movement in this video with different types of postures, movements we do. There's something for everybody, so you can pick and choose what you want to do. Okay. So once you've found a chair, ideally take your shoes off. You don't have to have your socks off. If it's cold where you are, you can keep your socks on. But if you need to keep your shoes on, that's fine. It just restricts the feel that you get with the ground beneath you. But I fully understand that if your feet are cold, then keep your shoes on or keep your socks on. So before we start, you can see I'm doing a little bit of Mexican wave with my toes. It's always good to do this. If you can get your toes out and set them free, they'll really love you for it, okay? Free the toes. It's my latest crusade. Let the toes be free, okay? Now, it's going to be quite tricky for some people to do this because they've got limited movement in their toes, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't try. So lift the toes up, press the toes down, just wiggle the toes and see how you feel with your toes. Okay, so we're going to start from the bottom up. But before we start, we're going to do a little bit of breath work, which is always a good way to start a yoga class. So this breath work is going to just involve the upper body mostly. But before we start, try to feel a sense of grounding. Now, grounding in yoga is our connection with the ground, with the earth, feeling that stability, that foundation. So take your attention into your feet and feel the soles of your feet and let them gently press into the floor or your shoes or your socks, but feel that gentle presence there. Working up through your legs, soften your knees. Feel the pressure of the backs of the thighs on the chair and the sit bones, the bony bits at the bottom of your pelvis, pressing into the chair. Okay, that's your foundation. That's plenty of support there, plenty of stability. So you can allow your pelvis, your hips to soften and release and relax as you feel the weight build up a bit as you start to release the muscles. And then with your spine, try to have your spine upright. Ideally, lean away from the back of the chair and see if you can find that nice stability in your spine where you've just about balanced. You can feel the pressure in the sit bones, soften your shoulders, and not necessarily lifting up through the spine, lifting up through the crown of the head, but try to be as vertical as you can. Okay, and then just take a moment here, a few breaths, just feeling the breath as it enters and leaves the body. Ideally breathing into your tummy, so pushing your belly out on the breath in as if you've got a balloon in your tummy and releasing. And just taking this moment of grounding where we connect with the feelings in our body, we connect with the breath, we actually feel and follow the breath. And this allows us to just park any thoughts that are in our head, anything that's troubling us, any concerns, any to-do lists. And instead, we bring our mind into our body, our breath, getting that really nice connection and staying in the present moment with each breath. So not worrying about anything outside of how you feel. And as you sit here just for a moment, just feeling how you feel, soften any areas of tension, allow the shoulders to release a little bit, allow the pelvis to release a bit. If you're holding yourself in your tummy, or down in your pelvic floor, just allow a little bit of release here, feeling grounded on the chair, okay? All right, now we're going to start this breath work. So bring your hands to your chest and press them together into a sort of a prayer position. Okay, a breath in here, breathe in through the nose. You're going to breathe out through the nose, and as you breathe out, push the hands away like a diver. Lengthening the arms, full breath out. When you're ready to breathe in, Lift your arms, your elbows back, open up the chest here, draw the elbows back, big breath in, breath out, sweep the arms out to the side and draw them in with that breath out. As you come to the end of the breath out, the palms touch and breath in, come back to the middle of your chest. Breath out, push away. Breath in, open up. Breath out. Really reach and then close in and breath in. Breath out. Breath in. Breath out. Breath in. And release. Now you can do that as many times as you want. It's a really nice grounding breath process, practice. It dials your mind into the breath and it's a little bit mindful because you're thinking about movement, you're thinking about the breath. Okay, so that's a nice way to start a class. You don't even have to start the class. You can do that anytime you want when you've got some time on your hands. Do a little bit of pranayama or breath work. Okay, we're working from the bottom up. So hands on your thighs. And you're going to do some heel pumps. So heel pumps, you might not be able to see. I'll come around to show you here. Are this. So we're lifting the heels and just letting them drop down slightly. And then we might lift the toes if we've got the flexibility in our ankles. And then we might mix it up a little bit. Okay, so this is a really nice way to start to engage the body, engage the movement. And we're pumping the heels. And it is often referred to in places as our second heart, this heel pump process, because we're squeezing some of the venal reflow veins, if you like, and we're getting that movement going in the bottom of the legs. It's quite nice to heel pump and get the heart rate up a little bit. You will be surprised because what's going on here is those heels are bashing into the floor. And then carry on as many as you want. And you can mix it up a bit. You can maybe do a heel toe from side to side. Just get a little bit of lateral movement in those ankles, see how you are. And if any of this is too difficult for you, simply don't do it. Simply do something that is accessible to you. But get some movement into your lower legs and maybe a little bit of clams here, up onto the balls of your feet, taking the knees out nice and wide, getting some movement here. And you can slowly build the movement up, just again to increase the heart rate if you like. You can prig your feet and start a little bit of marching with the feet, drop the hands down the side and maybe marching very, very gently. And you will be surprised how quickly the heart rate rises. Get the circulation increasing, body starts to warm up a little bit, becomes a bit more pliable. And slow down. Okay, starting again now, going up through the body. Lift the knee up, the left knee in this case, and clasp your hands around it and draw some circles here with that knee. Just loosening up that hip socket if that's okay for you. And one way and then the other way. So lefty loosey, righty tighty, just feeling that movement in your hip. And then hug that knee and draw that knee in and squeeze it a couple of times here, squeezing that joint capsule. Drop that foot to the floor and come onto the other side. Okay, so small circles, one way, and then the other way. And again, a lot of these things I do quite frequently in our classes through the week. And bring that knee in, hug it, hug it, hug it, and then drop down. So hands on your thighs, take your feet a little bit wider apart now. And we're going to do this churning motion. So taking the shoulders round, using your core muscles here, pull your tummy button in and try to drive this movement. You'll be moving from one sit bone to the other sit bone as the weight transfers from side to side. Really quite a nice movement. And of course, in yoga, as we all know, we've got to do things equally on both sides. Otherwise, there's a serious risk we will end up walking around in circles after the practice. It does happen. I've seen it happen. and you can never find your way home simply because you didn't do something the other way. Okay, and then come back. Again, you can do this longer if you want, shorter if you want, whatever you want. Okay, we're coming up through the body now. So we're going to start lifting the shoulders up to the ears, big shrug, and then lower down. So get that movement going, feel that range of movement. I'm going to speed it up a bit. So we're going to lift up and then maybe drop down. Lift up and drop down. And do this couple of times just to feel the shoulders let go. You feel that bounce maybe when you release the shoulders. I really like this movement because it is a great way of finding out if we're carrying any tension in our shoulders. And what I mean by that is when you come to the end of this, your shoulders should be quite soft and released and quite low. You might realize actually they was up here before we started. Now they're down there. So I was carrying a little bit of tension. So that's quite a nice movement. And you can increase that. You can do front crawl with your shoulders as you roll your shoulders forwards. See how that range of movement is for you. It might be quite stiff. Don't worry too much if it's not there for you. And then you can do backstroke, just using the shoulders to draw the scapula, the shoulder blades down the ribs in the back. Then you can do breaststroke, really tricky breaststroke. The one that always eludes us, I think, is butterfly. And it's no easier with the shoulders. Okay. And then you've really moved the scapula in the back, taking the arms out nice and wide and drawing some circles with the arms, getting bigger and bigger. If you've got shoulder impingement and you really struggle with this, getting the arms up, only go with what you can go. If one arm's down here and one arm's up there, that's okay. Just go with what you go and then go backwards a bit. It doesn't take long for tiredness to set in this movement. So we won't do too much of this. We'll just let our shoulders release a little bit, just loosen off the shoulders here. But it's worth revisiting that because we could really start challenge the hemispheres of our brain, the left and right. So we go forward, so then maybe one goes backwards whilst one goes forward. See how that works for you. Okay, it doesn't work for me particularly well, but then try that, you know, one forward, one backwards, or maybe a little bit of a wee. All good movement in the shoulders. Okay, coming up to the noggin, we're going to start moving the head from side to side. Nice and slow, just gently move into those points of compression in your neck. And then when you've done that a few times, again, anytime you find some sharp pain, some pinching, back off here. You might feel some creaking, some crackling, which is perfectly normal. Providing it doesn't hurt, still keep with the movements, then up and down. So tucking the chin in and then lifting the head up. And what to do here on this one, when you lift the head up, lift one foot up, tuck the chin in, and lift the other foot up, pointing the toe, drop the head, tuck the chin in, and keep with this. This is a little bit of nerve flossing, just lengthening that sciatic nerve through your spine, down through into the legs. And again, it uses a little bit of coordination. So again, we're exercising the brain, the hemispheres of the brain. Got to think about what's going on. And it's a great movement. And then just soften through the neck. You can draw some circles if you wish. You can close your eyes and draw the circles one way and then the other way. Or you can let your pupils in your eyes follow the direction of the circle and make some pretty weird expressions with your eyes. Whatever you want to do here, just thinking about that cervical spine and the total movement you're afforded with these movements. The one we haven't done is a side bend. Okay, so take one arm out to the side and lift it up over the head and rest it on the other side. Take the other arm and point the fingers to the floor. Now gently side bend the head, gently rest the hand on the head, not pulling, more about pushing the lengthened arm away. Find a little bit of tension down the side of the neck. Staying here for a couple of breaths. And release. And go to the other side. So it's a gentle side bend as you draw and take that hand away from the shoulder. Find a little bit of tension in the side of the neck. and come away and come to an upright position. Okay. Now we're going to cactus the arms. So do a nice surrender position here. And then take the arms forwards, draw the arms forwards, draw the arms backwards, cactus. Flatten the arms, take them forwards, come back, cactus. Breath out, breath in, breath out, breath in. Whatever you want to do, this is a nice movement of your shoulders still working through the upper body. And release. Okay, just loosen off the shoulders. Now we're going to do some breath to movement. Do a thing called cat-cow. We're going to come sideways to show you this. This is a really good movement. So from an upright position here, hands on your thighs. As you breathe in, lift your chest up, draw your shoulders back and lift your head up, arch through the lower back. As you breathe out, drop your head, tuck your chin in, round your back, and slouch forwards. So breath in, lift the chest up, draw the shoulders back, arch the lower back, lift the head. Breath out, drop the chin, tuck the chin in, round the back, pull the belly button in. So with the breath, go backwards and forwards. When we lift up, arch the lower back, lift the chest, draw the shoulders back. This is cow pose. And when we drop the head, tuck the chin in, around the shoulders, pull the belly button in. This is angry cat pose. It's a nice movement, moving the spine. Or every single disc and vertebra of the spine, getting a nice movement. When you pull your belly button in, as you breathe out, you're tucking your tailbone under. So you're going all the way down into the sacrum. When you lift your head up and back, you're working all the way up into the cervical spine, just below the scalp. So lovely movement, cat-cow. Use that a lot to keep your spine mobile. Okay, and from here, we're going to take a forward bend. So walking your feet forwards. Now you can, if you want, if you've got a book, rest your feet on a book here. So you can get that nice length through the legs. You don't have to, but if you can, it might help with the forward fold. So a forward fold is exactly that. I'll come side on so you can see. Legs nice and straight here. Lift the back up, tuck the chin in, round the spine, and then slowly slide the hands down. Looking down towards the floor, come all the way down. And then when you get to a low position here, maybe take the hands off the legs and dangle them down. Pull your belly button in just to support your lumbar spine. Tuck your chin in. Any issues with your lower back, simply come back up. But find this arms dangling posture, forward fold. Really stretching out through the spine, creating some space in the vertebra. And then after you've taken a few breaths here, feeling that nice release, hands come back on the legs and use your core muscles to roll up to an upright position. And you can do that a few times, just breathing out, coming down, taking a couple of breaths at the bottom, let the arms dangle. And then rest the hands on your legs, pull the belly button in, a breath in, come up. Maybe taking the arms up nice and wide, continuing that breath in and come down. So forward fold. So to counter a forward fold, we go into a back bend. And I'm going to turn the chair side on now so you can see this. So there's a really nice use of the chair is sitting forwards on the edge, take the hands behind towards the back of the chair, park the feet down, hip width apart, knees on top of ankles. With a breath in, lift the chest up, draw the shoulder blades towards each other, okay, and lift the head up, push back, arching the lower back, nice back bend. Really feeling that effort to get the nice curvature in your lumbar spine, and then drawing the shoulders back so you get a nice stretch through the front of the chest. Maybe lean forward a little bit. You'll feel it in your back and the front of your body, your chest, and release. Okay, so forward bend, back bend. We're going to move the side now. So take the arms out nice and wide. Slowly float one arm down, the other one comes up. You can use the arm of a chair here to lean on if you want, or you can rest your forearm on your leg. If you take your leg out to the side, come into a bit of a side bend, keeping your shoulders on top of your hips. Try not to roll in. forwards, and come to that point where you feel a little bit of stretch down the side of the body that's being opened up, and target your breath into that rib cage there. So breathing into that lung on that side. Taking a few breaths here. And then come up. And then just take a moment for the spine to reorganize itself and realign itself. Not too long a moment, not going off making a cup of tea or something. And then come to the other side. So side bend to the other side, and just always being inquisitive about your body, seeing if one side is tighter than the other, seeing if you can get more air into that side because the ribs may be a little bit looser. So again, using the lung to push the ribs from the inside out, and you can lean on the thigh here if you want to go a bit deeper, really feeling that stretch, using gravity on that top arm to pull it over. And then come back. Okay. Final plane of movement for your spine. We're going to turn. So we'll turn to one side. I'm going to turn to my right side, take my left hand onto the outside of my right knee. My right hand's going to go behind the back. You'll see it just here, or onto the chair. And then gently, with a little bit of leverage, keeping your spine upright, twist through the spine, look back over, in this case, my right shoulder, feeling that compression in the spine. So it's really difficult to breathe here because the diaphragm can't go into the belly. So what we have to do is pull the breath into the tops of the ribs and flare the ribs. So use the ribs as breathing muscles, the costal muscles in the tops of the ribs, opening and closing the ribs. And release. Again, take the spine. At the moment for the spine just to normalize itself. And we do it on the other side. So my right hand goes onto the outside of the left knee. Turn initially to get that twist through your core muscles, and then just use a little bit of leverage, extra leverage, to twist through, turn, look back over the left shoulder in this case. Okay, and come back to center. Do a little bit of heel pumping while you're here, just to keep the movement going. And you can do a little bit of marching as well if you want. Okay, take the arms out nice and wide, and then we lift one leg up. And stay here for a breath or two, and drop down, and we go again. Breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out. Keep going. We're working our trapezius and the deep back muscles, the rhomboids, the rotator cuffs, also the hip flexors, lifting those legs up, just seeing how it feels for you. Carry on with this. Again, to that point where you start to feel a little bit of fatigue, and just go a little bit deeper, just go a couple more, just to give your body something to work with. And release, and just roll the shoulders, tap the heels. Anytime you need to take some time out, I'm just going through sequentially the different postures, but I would fully expect you to take a few seconds or even a minute or two between these postures just to get a little bit of grounding, play around with the breath, you know, do the nice breath movement to fill in between the different types of postures. It's really about movement. It's really about keeping engaged with the movement, thinking about the movement, thinking how you feel in the movement, and following the breath. Okay, so try to keep a sense of grounding, sense of mindfulness, and don't push yourself too much. Every time you move the body, you're actually doing yoga. If you're feeling it, you're doing it. Okay, so from here, we're going to, again, lift up one knee and pull it in. This time we're going to take the hands behind the thigh and straighten out the leg. And we're going to draw some circles with our ankle just to see how great those circles are. That really great control we've got, or maybe not, in our ankles. And do that a couple of times. And then gently draw that leg up. Now, it's going to be quite tricky. Some of us are going to be really tight in the hamstrings, but only going as far as you can here. Pull the toes into the shin, get a little bit of tension in the back of that straight leg. And breathe nice and softly. and come back down. Take a moment just to settle that leg down. And go again on the other side. So draw the knee up, lift it up. When it's raised, take the hands under the calf, straighten the leg out, and just check in. Let's see how the ankle is on this side. Thinking about if you're left-footed or right-footed. Thinking about maybe as a child, if you twisted or sprained your ankle. Thinking about why one ankle might be a bit more mobile than the other. There's no right or wrong, and then draw the leg in. Just learn about your body, learn about the features of your body, the constraints, and maybe the restrictions, and figuring it out. Okay, and then come back down. So we can do a little bit of a flow of movement to breath with the legs, which is quite nice. So let me see if I can remember this. So hands on your upper thighs with a breath in, lift the leg up, with a breath out, straighten the leg, with a breath in, point the toes, with a breath out, pull the toes in, with a breath in, bring the knee back up, with a breath out, drop the foot. So breath in, lift the knee, breath out, straighten the leg. Breath in, point the toes, breath out, bring the toes back. Breath in, bring the knee high, breath out, down. Breath in, knee lifts, breath out, leg straightens. Breath in, toes point, breath out, toes come back. Breath in, knee to chest, breath out to the floor. Breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out, breath in, breath out. Okay, good. So the next movement is opening the hips, taking the hips or taking the legs out quite wide here. Heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, your feet out. If you find that you've got arms in the chair and it's restrictive, you can come to the edge of your chair, take your feet out, point your toes out, and then bring your hands to your chest and gently take the arms out. I surrender pose, drawing the shoulders back, drawing the knees back into goddess pose, and stay here and breathe. Feeling the tensions in your body. So all the posterior, the back muscles really working here from the glutes in the back of the pelvis all the way up through the back into the shoulders. You can do some funky things here with your feet if you want. You want to do some funky things with your hands, you can do this. You don't have to. It doesn't bring you power and wealth beyond your wildest dreams, but it does internally rotate the shoulders, and it does really work the soleus muscles in the legs. And you need to stay here a few breaths to feel the work going on, and the hips are really opening up now. Think about your hip sockets and the femurs in the hip sockets. Getting a nice opening, really good to free up some of that synovial fluid, and release, and heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. Come back in, and a few heel pumps in. We're going to come back with a wide leg position again, because there's a couple of things we can do here as well as opening the hips. We can take a really nice side bend. So rest a forearm on the thigh, turn and look back the other way. And with the other hand, you can take it into the small of the back, palm faces away, and just take a little bit of a rotation, using the lead bridge here through the spine. Breathe in, looking back over that back shoulder. And release. And you can hold these postures for about 30 seconds if you want. Build up to it. 2 or 3 breaths is good to start off with. So rest on that thigh, then turn and look over the other shoulder. Maybe take the hand into the small of the back and look back. You can, if you want, take that hand up. Get a little bit of leverage through the upper body. It really depends on how you feel in your body, what range of movement you've got. Again, there's no right or wrong. But go to a point where you feel a little bit of effort, and then work with the breath on that effort. So when I say work with the breath, come all the way back up, right? Heel toe, heel toe, heel toe. So the breath is quite a powerful thing. It's a powerful thing because it keeps us alive, if nothing else. But when you go into a point of physical stress, if you slow your breath down, if you extend your exhalations, and you slightly sigh gently into the back of the throat, you'll find that that stress, that feeling of tension in the body slowly alleviates. Takes probably about 2 or 3 breaths and you start to feel less uncomfortable and more comfortable. You can build your stamina, your endurance up by simply focusing on the breath in those points of stress. So we can explore that. So we can take our legs wide again, rest a forearm, and then come into this twist pose. Maybe the hand comes onto the hip this time. Go into that twist, find some tension in your body somewhere, maybe around the shoulders, maybe around the spine, and nice, slow, steady breaths. Feeling connected with the breath, guiding your mind onto the breath, feeling the restrictions of the breath, and extending your exhale. And you will soon find that when you come into these postures, which do require a little bit of tension, physical stress, when you focus entirely on the breath, it makes it a little bit more comfortable to hold for a length of time. And that's really good, because what that is doing is making changes to your body. It's starting to get a little bit more flexibility in the joints, because we're stretching some of that tight connective tissue, that fascia that envelopes us. There's so many different layers around the body. And each time we go into physical stress and really start, lengthening the body, we start to correct the problems with that tightness of that fascia. Okay, so there's a number of different static postures. I'm going to put a lot of those together with a sun salutation, and I'm going to talk you through this, and then we're going to do a couple. So sun salutations is breath to movement. It's about 4 or 5 different postures strung together in sequence. It's a great way to warm your body up. It's a great way to start your day if you wanted to open up your body and get a little bit more mobility in your body. So we'll do it right now. So I'm going to do it straight on, and then I'm going to turn to the side and show you what's going on. So from a seated position towards the edge of your chair, take your feet a little bit further forwards, take the hands out nice, drop down by the side, lift the spine up so you're quite flat through the body. With a breath in, float the arms up. For that entirety of the breath in, as you breathe out, float the hands down onto your thighs. As you breathe in, lift your chest, draw your shoulders back, lift your chin up, arch your lower back into cow pose, which we did earlier. And as you breathe out, tuck your chin and drop your head and slowly slide the hands down the shins, the legs, to a forward fold. Not going to go into a full dangle, forward fold. When you come as low as you can, with the next breath in, lift your chest up and look forward. So a bit of a half lift here. And breath out, fold forwards. Take the shoulders, the head further down. With a big breath in now, slowly come upright, lifting upright, and continue the movement with the hands all the way up. And breath out, down. I'm going to do that again. I'll come side on. So breath in, lift the hands up, nice and flat through the back. Breath out, float the hands down on your thighs. Ready for cow pose. Breath in, arch the back, shoulders back, lift up the chin, drop the head back. And then a breath out, tuck the chin in and slowly slide forwards down to a forward fold. With a breath in, lift the chest up, arch the lower back, lift the head up. With a breath out, fold forwards, allowing the head to drop a little bit further down. And a slow breath in, come all the way up, floating the arms up nice and high. And breath out, down. Breath in, cow pose. Breath out, slide down. Lift in, half lift. Breath out, fold forward. Breath in, lift all the way up. Nice and high, go for height. And come back down. And you could continue that as many times as you like. And just 3 of those, you can actually feel the mobility in the spine. You can feel a little bit of mobility around the legs where we've gone forwards. And you'll feel the shoulders nice and loose. Okay. So that's pretty much it for this video. It gives you an idea of some of the stuff we do in chair yoga. If you do chair yoga with me and you wanted to drop into this video, then it gives you a little bit of a prompt, if you like, a nudge, a reminder of some of the things, and you can mix them up in any way, shape or form. I will be putting some more videos on in the coming weeks, some chair videos with some other stuff. There's a whole lot of stuff we can do here. This is really mostly just the initial accessible types of movements in chair. There's things we can do where if we've got the right chair, we can do more sort of regular yoga postures like warrior and side angle and all sorts of things. And then we can also get up if we've got some stability in our bodies, if we're not too concerned, if you like, about balance. You can grab hold of the chair and we can do some maybe balances here, hanging onto the chair, and we can do some other things, some squats. So plenty of scope, and hopefully that's going to be of use. In the meantime, please carry on, keep the movement going, and I hope to see you at some of the chair yoga classes in the coming weeks. Okay, stay safe. Bye-bye.